This is the Theodore Klein life story, tape number 3. We were just leaving Europe and you were about to get on the boat to the United States. So tell us what you remember about the boat ride to the United States.
Well, what happened is that I remember my dad, they had something they called horse racing on the for entertainment, and so for a quarter you can bet on a horse, like 1 to 6 or 1 to 8 horses, and they would ring off, and then they would move a horse and 2 horse and 3 horse. They would do till the end. But every time my dad picked on a horse, he lost. So I remember that.
What kind of horses were they?
No, they were not horses. They were made out of plastic, and they just moved them.
Who moved them?
Somebody controlled it. Somebody controlled it. Probably based on how much bet was on the one, so they made sure that one doesn't win.
Right.
You know, so I assumed that's what was going on.
Was there a swimming pool on the boat?
I think so, but we didn't go swimming. I don't remember that.
Was there anything for kids to do?
Well, my brother was busy. He found a friend there, and this friend, I used to run around. And what happened one day? His friend tripped, because between the cabins there's like a high what would you say?
Step.
It was like a step. You have to step over so they could lock the door, so in case.
A porthole.
So you can lock it so that no water can go through.
A hatch.
So anyhow, they had that. And I remember his friend fell and broke his leg. So that ruined his trip. My brother and I hung around, and my brother managed to do whatever he had to do. We also tried to sneak into the first class part, which is upstairs, but they wouldn't let us go past a certain point.
But were you allowed on the deck of the ship?
Up to one point, but we couldn't go upstairs to the first class deck.
But you were still out in the open.
Oh yes.
But there was a first class out in the open deck.
People were out there, and people were a lot of people up on deck because they were sick. They were throwing up. Yeah, my brother and I were okay. I had a mild headache the 4th day. My brother also, but we were okay. But the older people some of them got sick on the boat. So I guess it wasn't so stable like it is today, these boats.
I don't think they're more stable today.
No?
No, I doubt it.
It could be, I don't
So,
know.
probably the North Atlantic is very choppy.
Yeah, that's true.
Compared to the Caribbean.
Well, that's true.
So, so you land. Did you come to Ellis Island? Where did you come to?
No, what happened is all those people who went to Ellis Island, we pulled into the pier. I think it was Pier 41 or 42, and then we were citizens, so we were told to embark. Everybody else who had to go to Ellis Island had to stay on, and then the ship then was going to take them to Ellis Island.
So you never had to come through Ellis Island?
No, we got right off the boat.
Were most of the people going through Ellis Island?
A good portion of them. Well, yes, I would say so.
You didn't make any friends on the boat?
No, I was too young. I didn't even know English. So if somebody only spoke Hungarian or Romanian, I couldn't speak to them otherwise.
Do you speak Hungarian or Romanian?
Hungarian. Those days I still knew Romanian, but now I lost it all. I just know a few words here or there.
But your parents were from the Hungarian side, so they spoke Hungarian.
My parents spoke good Hungarian and good Romanian, because they had a new Romanian from the business. And every time they dealt with City Hall, they had to speak Romanian. Because once it was official business, it was always Romanian. Yeah, it was always Romanian, official business.
And so you landed at Pier 40, and you met this woman, and she
Yes, Irma Farkas. No, actually she was married. She was already married. Irma was the older daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Farkas, and she was married, and his name was Bela. So she met us there, and I think her sister could have been with her. Her sister, what's her? I forgot sister's name. My sister knows the name. Oh my, it's terrible.
It doesn't matter. Were you excited to get to New York?
Oh yeah, it was very exciting. Oh, I even know my dad taught me a song, first English song I learned. It went, wait till the sun shines dully and the clouds go drifting by. You will be happy, Dolly, don't you cry. Down Lover's Lane we'll wander, sweetheart, you and I. Wait till the sun shines dully, by and by. This is a song like the early 1900s.
And you,
my father knew this stuff.
I know
that was his time.
I know that song now.
You did?
I probably learned it from you.
Yeah.
What? So you moved to the Bronx right away, and you
Yes.
were living in these people's apartment
Yes.
until you got your own apartment a few weeks later.
Yeah, which was only a few blocks away.
Where was your apartment?
We moved to 940 East, 165th Street. It was on 65th Street, 940 East, 165th Street.
That's the South Bronx, right?
Yes, South Bronx.
And you went right into school?
Oh yes, my dad signed me up for school. Right, so I went into school, so they signed me up to first grade, it's like 1A. I went to 1A, and I stayed, now this was May. So I was in 1A for like...
So May 1939.
Right, so I was in there maybe a month or two, and then they transferred me to 1B.
So they graduated you up?
Yeah, but I skipped 6 times. So from 1B, so I then I went to next semester started in September, so I went to 2A, and they skipped me to 2B.
How old were you when you started?
9. So I was in class with these kids.
6-year-old, 7-year-old.
Oh, yeah, 6, yeah, right. So they were little kids. But there was one pretty girl in the class I liked. Very pretty little girl. So I used to always, I couldn't speak English, so I used to follow her while she would go home. And she lived on the corner of 167th Street and Tiffany Street. So I always walked past that, so maybe I could see her. But it was very nice. She had strawberry curls. Her mother made her nice strawberry curls. So the funny part was many years later I saw her, and she had all kinds of pimples on her face.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't tell.
You
But I
can't.
liked her. She was beautiful
Yeah.
as a kid. You know.
And you were only
And
9
I was
at the time.
only 9, you know, but my hormones were still working already. You know. So I liked her. She was very nice. And so I skipped 2A. I skipped to 2. I skipped 2B, went into 3A, and I skipped to 3B. This is all going on because they were way behind me in math. It wasn't even until the 5th grade that they caught up with me that I didn't learn long division. So I didn't know. They didn't learn. They didn't know that stuff. I knew that stuff. I always had my hand up. I couldn't speak, but I had my hand up, and I could somehow I uttered down the answers.
Right.
You know. So she used to skip me.
Did they give you special classes in English?
Yes, they gave me. I had trouble pronouncing certain words, so they gave me. What would you call that? Like, I couldn't say. We didn't have the.
Speech therapy.
Speech therapy. I didn't have that in Europe. That kind of sound. So I used to have it, and they used to make me put the tongue up on top. I used to go to the therapy like once a week or whatever. You know.
How long did it take you to pick up English?
I always picked up here or there something. I always picked up English. My big, what do you call it? I remember is I used to go downstairs after school. I went outside, and I used to go out, and the big boys, you know, the teenagers, they were playing, and all they talked about the F word here and F there and F there, right? So I didn't know what's going on. So I came home and I said to my dad, "Dad, what does F mean?" So he says to me, "Don't use that word. It's not a nice word." So I got the gist of it.
But you must have felt really out of place not speaking the language.
Oh yeah, I had difficulty. You know, it's hard to communicate when you can't speak to people. But slowly you pick up here and there a word. But I kept busy. I had a little ball, and I would stay off the gutter. I would stay on the edge of the sidewalk and the gutter, and I would hit the ball I would hit the ball for hours against the building, and I would get grounders. I became very proficient at that. So later on, for example, in school, I was one of the top players in the grade because I had good coordination, you know. So that was good. That was good. What else?
When would you say it was that you got used to speaking English, that you didn't view it as an impediment? How long did that take? A year or two? Or?
Yeah, that's all. I got pretty good at it. You know, there's more to it than that because, you know, there's idiomatic expressions. You have to pick up different things. The language is tricky, and you have to grow up with the language. But I got pretty good at it, and but it took a while. I think my brother and sister had a harder time with it.
Because they were older already.
They were older already, right? So my brother went into junior high school. They put him in junior high school with my sister. So they started junior high school, and I started grade school. But I was small, so they were much older than the other kids. So my brother's, he sort of struggled through and graduated junior high school 40 and went to Campus High School, where he was learning to be electrician. He took a vocational course. And my sister, she couldn't last. She hated the kids. They were not little kids. The woman is 17 years old. What the hell is she doing with 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, you know? So she quit school, went to work. And everything is luck of the draw.
But of the three of you, she never lost her accent.
No, it's hard to lose the Hungarian accent. It's so steep. It's so different.
But
so,
she was older and she left school.
And she left school, and she struggled, and she was at a disadvantage. Very bright girl, and she had to quit because we needed the money. She didn't have the opportunities that my brother and I had. It was just one of those things. So, everything is the luck of the draw. It's where you stand in life. So she had a very difficult life, a much harder life, because she was first of all more exposed to the problems that my parents were going through, which I didn't relate to. Maybe my brother did a little bit, but my sister, of course, was living it all the time. So that's what happens, you know, with siblings. One of them always gets the short end of the stick. So she didn't have much education at all. She went to like 6 months of junior high school and she quit. Now in Europe, she already went into gymnasium. Was in high school. She would have been graduating very high in Europe, but there was no, we had to leave. So she was at a disadvantage. Was a very bright girl.
Did she ever fully learn to read? And
Oh yeah, she could read. Yeah, she could read. Yeah, but she had a tough time. Then she had a very difficult, I don't know if I should say the marriage.
oh, we'll
I don't
come
wanna-
to that.
Because they are, his family, they're going to be reading this. I don't know if I should discuss this.
Well, we'll come to it later. I don't. I think you probably should, but we'll come to it later.
Yeah, maybe she wants to discuss it. I don't think it's my place to discuss it. But we were involved, my brother and I. She always used to come to us to help, because she had a difficult time.
So back to junior high school. Oh, you
Yes.
were in elementary school.
I was in elementary school.
Did you start to make friends?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of friends. I went to all of elementary school. Not only that, but they always voted me, I'd be the secretary. So I was a secretary for 2.5 years in the grade school and junior high school. I was a secretary, automatically, nobody ran against me. They ran for president, vice president, but secretary, well, I was like that. I used to take around the section book. That means that I took the tally sheet and the teacher would check off who's there, who wasn't there.
Even this is probably after you started speaking English a little bit better.
Oh yeah, by then I, and I was good. I was a top player, so I was, they all knew me. I was
So you're popular because you were good at sports
I was
too.
good at sports, and they picked me, and they was always good, And my brother was also very good. He went to campus high school, and he says that he was in the gym, and he started to kick. My brother was a left-footed kicker. Well, he was right in everything, but always kicked left-footed. And had a very powerful legs. He had a powerful kick. And so the gym teacher came running over to me. He says, I want you on the soccer team. You got to go on our soccer team. So my brother says, I can't come. I can't play on the Sabbath. So he didn't go. He would have been the top player for them.
Yeah,
Yeah, in Europe, that's what we played was soccer. It
right.
was good, very good. And my father's first cousin, Klein, my Uncle David. My Uncle David was my grandfather's brother, his great Uncle David. His son was first cousin to my dad, Judith Klein. And he was a professional soccer player in Romania. Now this was unheard of for a Jew to be a soccer player. He even made the All-Star team one year. He was a very good player. And, my brother told me the story that one time I told you we had a place where we used to go swimming by the water hole by the river. And these guys were acting up and signing up with the Jews. And he was a short but stocky guy. My brother had that built with his legs strong. So my brother says he went over to these guys and he smashed them around, and they
Yeah, who declined it?
yeah. So but they killed them also in the Holocaust,
Oh yeah.
probably. Yeah, but then he was an older man. You know, we talk about the 40s.
Right.
So he was my father's, so my father was in 1887, he had to be born somewhere around there. They were first cousins. He was a top soccer player. He played for a team called Cresciano. And we had two teams in our city. One was called the Nuts. The Nuts was the national professional team, and the Turks. Turkvesh was the minor league. Now the Turkvesh was loaded with Jewish players, but it's hard for them to get into the national team. You know. But we had that. We used to go to the game. My brother used to go. He was a big fan. Oh, he used to go all the time to the game. And then we had a Maccabi team there too.
Another Jewish team?
Yeah, Jews, the Maccabis.
Who'd they play against? The Jewish League?
Yeah, the Jews played against themselves. I don't know if they got games with the other teams. Maybe. So,
So what was life like in the Bronx?
oh, the Bronx was very interesting. We grew up in the Bronx. I was, my brother was a go-getter guy. He always had girlfriends. He always went out looking for girls and always had girlfriends. He was a good-looking guy. So well, we went to school. From there, I finished junior high school, and your mother was in the same junior high school as I was at the same time, but we didn't know each other.
That's funny.
She was a grade ahead of me, at least 1 year ahead of me. So I was, from there I graduated and I went to James Monroe High School. James Monroe High School is where Hank Greenberg, I don't know if you ever heard of him. Yeah, he was one of the star players in the 30s. Yeah, no, this was in the 40s. So he went to the same high school I did. So that was high school. High school was, I didn't like high school too much. For one reason, the junior high school and the low grade school I loved because I was with the same kids all the time and we were real friends. We were friends. We had Puerto Rican kids, we had all kinds of kids, Italian kids. We had, as a matter of fact, I have my yearbook, you see all the names, you know, they had all kinds of names. They had black kids, they had all kinds of kids, and we were all friendly. It was only when you were in high school, and then they sent you all over the place, and you never saw the kids anymore. You know, you didn't stay with the same kids. For my graduating class was 700 to 800 kids in 1948. 700 to 800 when I graduated, and we all sat up on the stage. That's how big the stage was in Monroe High School. We were up on the stage. Imagine it, 800 kids. So we never saw anybody. You saw them, you didn't see them. I ran into a problem in there, and I was very upset. Oh, I was so upset. What happened? I was given the section sheet to go around and go in and give it to the teacher, and she checked off everybody for present. But one SOB kid, Jewish kid, smart ass, and he was cutting. He was cutting. And he comes to me, he says to me, I want you to do me a favor, I want you to mark me here. So I said, I'm not marking you here. You know, I'm not marking you here. Yeah. Okay. What happened was, some afternoon there, the teacher comes over to me, and he says, "Where's this guy?" The gym teacher. I says, "I don't know where he is." He says, "Well, he's marked that he's present." I says, I didn't mark him present." He says, "Well, you better get him here." This I'm in eighth grade. He says, "Because you're not graduating unless I see this guy." Well, I was so upset. I was fit to be tied. Right? Okay. Now I come home from school. And I'm very upset all the afternoon. Am I going to graduate? I'll get good marks. I'm a good student. And for an SOB like that, I'm going to get screwed up. So anyhow, so that afternoon I went to the movies. And it was a RKO, it was a Loews Boulevard. And on Southern Boulevard. Okay, I go over to the movies there. And my mind wasn't on there. And who comes sit down? The whole place is empty. This nice looking girl comes sits down next to me. And she puts her arms around me. Says, "Oh my God." I says, I'm not in the mood for this. I feel terrible. I may not graduate. So I says, "I'm sorry," and I get up and I leave.
And I don't understand this. You got to tell more about the story. It doesn't make any sense.
Why? People used to go to the movies those days, and used to pick up girls in the movies. You know, they got out early. Some people got early because they were in higher classes. They didn't have to stay till 3 o'clock. They got out 1:32, so he went to the movies.
So this was a girl you didn't know at all?
No, I don't know who she was.
She just came and sat down next to you?
Yes, she did that to me. And she tried to be friendly with me. So not that she wanted to play around. It's obvious, you know. So, which was doing great. My mother, just then I got onto this stupid stuff with this jerk. So anyhow, that ended that. So next day, I went in to school and I looked for this guy and I found this guy and I grabbed him. I says, "You better show up to the gym teacher, or otherwise I'm gonna knock the shit out of you." And this was a strong, big kid. I says, "You're not gonna screw me up." Anyhow, I never.
So you were falsifying the thing for him every day?
I wasn't.
So how did his name get on?
He got it somehow. He got it done. You know. So maybe somebody else he knew there would check it over. But I was in charge of the section sheet.
Yeah.
So it's like me doing it. So anyhow, I never heard anything again. The teacher spoke to him, the gym teacher, and I guess they straightened it out with him. Told him that if he doesn't come every day, he's in trouble. So they must have straightened it out, because I was off the hook.
So you got him to come to gym class then?
Oh yeah. He came. I wasn't going to take no crap from him. I was very upset. Imagine I'm not going to graduate before a jerk like this. People always screw you up, you know. There's always somebody who does things because they don't play the game on the level. So anyhow, that was an incident that was happening in high school. And also then we had Red Letter Day, and I joined Red Letter Day. Was that races, all the seniors had races. And I was good, fast runner, you know. And again, everything gets screwed up. One guy comes to race. He's running the 100 yards, which was my race. He's running the 100 yards race. This guy was a transfer from another high school, and he was on that high school's track team, and he had no right to be with. These are only people who were not on track teams. You know, the rest of the class. So because of that, there was a big controversy, and he's screaming at them. He's got to let them race. Sure enough, he won. And I came in fourth, and I didn't get a medal. So I always get screwed up. And I came in fourth. And the first three got medals. That was Red Letter Day. I remember that. But I had a good, it was fun, I was good. What else was high school? Yeah, it's,
What did you do after school with kids?
oh, well, after school, I was already in the 6th, 7th grade. I got a job with the Red Arrow Agency in Manhattan.
In 6th and 7th grade?
Yeah, 7th grade, yeah. I was 16.
Oh, okay. You were 16 and you were still in 6th to 7th.
Well, I was
grade.
in high school. Not the 6th grade. I was in high school. I was like a 3rd year high school.
Oh, okay.
So I got this job as a Red Arrow Agency, and I went and I used to deliver dresses in these fancy houses. And these people used to buy $300 dresses and used to take it up to West End Avenue to these wealthy people. But I never got a penny because all you had to do was use the back elevator, and only the maid came out.
Ah,
So I never got a penny. And I remember I was so, it bothered me. My mother used to buy a $2 dress, you know, and these bums, they paying $300 for a dress. So that was
how much did you get paid on that job?
Yeah, probably minimum wage, you know. But it was a little job I had.
What would that have been back then? Do you think?
The what?
What do you think the minimum wage was?
Well, to go downtown with the subway was a nickel. Okay? To go was a nickel. And buy a newspaper was 2 cents. I don't know. If I made a couple of bucks, it was pretty good.
Couple of bucks a day?
I don't know about a day or a week. I don't know. I don't remember.
But it gave you some spending money.
Yeah, I gave them. So I did that in high school, and then how did we get to? Then came graduation. My mother came to the graduation with my sister. When I graduated, it was very nice. First, and then I started to work. I had a lousy job. I got a job as a...
Let's come back to work in a minute. Let's keep talking about school and the younger years. So, how old were you when your father died?
I was 16, 1946.
So you were in the middle of high school.
Yes, right, yeah. 46. I graduated in 48.
So what did your mother do for work all this time?
Well, she did housework. She used to work in...
She was a maid?
A maid. She used to work, clean offices. She used to do that kind of stuff.
She working in the day or at night?
I think she worked in the day. I don't remember her being out at night. Yeah, I don't remember that.
And what about your father? What did he do?
My father? Well, he was sick, but then the war came, so they sent him to Gompers High School, which was where my brother was going. It was a vocational high school, and they taught him sheet metal work. So he got a job as a sheet metalist for the war effort. So he got a job, I don't know which plant, but he worked for them, to build whatever they needed for the war. Because he worked with with metals. So that's what he did. And then at the end he worked for Streitsmatze, because the war ended, they don't need them, they laid them all off. And then he died soon after.
So when you say he was always sick, what was he sick with?
That's a very good question. He was sick with, I would say he had ulcers. That's the first thing I know he had.
Which today were more solved with a pill.
Yeah, well, he had ulcers, and he was I took him into the VA hospital, my brother and I, and he was in there, and they got him back on his feet. Then he had hernias. He had a couple of hernias, so they fixed that up. Then he had a heart condition. And those days they didn't have too much for the heart. You know, so that's
So who was supporting the family then a lot of this time? Just your
my
mother?
sister.
Oh, your sister and your mother.
My sister, my mother, and my brother. My brother got a job in a post office. The war was over. And then I started to work. 1948. I got a job right away.
Well, but we're talking about 8 years, 7 years from the time you got here until then. So it was,
Well, then it was my sister and my mother. And my father had intermittent jobs. And we struggled through somehow. You know?
your sister was a seamstress?
Yeah. So she had a trade, and she was good.
Were you on any organized teams in high school?
No, I didn't do organized team in high school because they played on Shabbat, so I couldn't do that. But we had teams, neighborhood teams. We had the baseball teams, we had soccer teams, not soccer teams, indoor, the
Bowling?
the big ball,
Bowling.
not bowling, it's called indoor softball.
Oh.
So I played a lot of ball. Oh, we were good. My brother was the catcher, excellent catcher. Because he was always a take charge guy, my brother. He ran the whole team, you know, he was the catcher. And we had a good team, very good team. And the team was mixed with Irish, Italian, Jews. You know, it was a mixed team. So, yeah, it was good. Yeah, so we had a lot of ball. We played a lot of ball all the time. We played a lot of stick ball. We used to play for money games. You know, we used to pay for $40, $60 a game, which is a lot of money. And we used to get the guys betting on us, some of the store owners, because we played on the street, right in the stores. So,
That's a tough game too.
yeah, tough game.
Because that ball is small and the bat is thin.
Yeah, right. We used to play stick ball. It's a broom, a broomstick. And then we had to watch Chicky the cops, because the cops would come, they had to hide the damn, because they took it away from you.
Why?
They took it away. So we always had to.
What did you call it when they came?
Chicky the cops.
Chicky the cops?
That
What?
was the word.
Chicky.
Chicky the cops. You know, that was the key word to, you know, we alert the cops. Chicky.
The only reason I asked that is because when I was in elementary school and we were making trouble, if a teacher started to come, the kids used to yell Chicky.
Oh.
And I never knew where Chicky came from.
Well,
So
their
this is
parents must have been.
this is the
Where
first
were
time I ever heard the
Yeah.
word Chicky
Chicky
used.
the cops. Yeah, everybody knew my generation. Chicky the cops.
Because you weren't allowed to play on the street?
You're allowed to play over here, but not stick ball. They don't want you because you can break a window, you know, different things. So they made it tough, but you hit it, and then you stood around like this, like nothing's going on, and they cruise through the street, you know.
Everybody's standing in their positions
Yeah.
looking up at the sky.
Yeah, right, yeah. So I used to do that. You see, we didn't live near a playground. The playground was 2 blocks down on Tiffany Street, and there's kids who lived over there, so they used the yard. We were outsiders. It would have been a problem, you know, fights, whatever. So we just played on the street. We had our own, but it wasn't bad for one simple reason. You see, those days. If a car pulled up on the block, you tell them, please move it down a half a block. They moved it down, and that was clear. We had the whole street clear. So they always moved the cars so we could play. you know, so we had a whole to do there. And center field was under the elevator train. It was very dangerous because you couldn't hear anything when the train came by and the trolleys came. And some kids were able to hit it 2.5 sewers.
Yeah.
The thing was, if a kid could hit it, the 2 sewers, that was a good shot. I couldn't hit 2 sewers, but I was a singles hitter, short drive.
Right.
Yeah, but the bigger kids, they can, lean off on it. It was a trick to everything.
Did you ever get into any actual fights?
In actual fights, I had a couple of fights in my life.
So what?
I had a couple of fights in my life. My first fight in my life was in well, I didn't speak English, and I was just standing downstairs. I was standing downstairs. And I was hitting the ball against the curb, against the wall. And I was just practicing catching the ball off the curb, right? I was catching the ball off the curb, one after the other. And all of a sudden the skid from around the corner came over by. Why skid? Wise ass kid. You know? He came over to me. Oh, thank you. Was a wise ass kid. And he started to nudge me. And I finally got to the point, all of a sudden, he grabbed my ball. So I went over and I grabbed the ball out of his hand. So then I turned around and going back to my spot to play, and he jumped on my back. He jumped on my back, so I bent over, I grabbed him from the back, and I threw him over. But man, was he shook up. I mean, he went flying. He ran away, he never came near me. That was one incident. I had a fight. It was one of my fights. Another fight was, I went to camp. My dad got me a camp, got me 2 weeks in a camp in somewhere in Massachusetts with the it was Federation camp. Okay, so I went there. I went to that camp, and I got along with everybody. They all liked me. Everybody liked me. I was that kind of a kid. Except one jerk, one kid didn't like me. Always gave me a tough time. Didn't I? So one particular day, we were coming up from the pool, the lake. We had to go up the hill. And we're walking up the hill, and he's walking us, and he started to bait me, and he started to give me a tough time. So I was just getting very annoyed. So I told him to cut it out.
How old were you?
How old was I? 10, 11. So it was bothering me, really. I was 11. So he bothered me, and so I told him to cut it out, but he wouldn't let up. So at one point we're coming up, the gang of us, and again he started up with me, all kinds of shit. And so I turned around and I gave him a smack. I smacked him right over here. I caught him right over there. I knocked him right off his feet. He was out. He went off his feet. He lay there like this. And I stood over him like this. And the guys all came over to me. He let him up. He never came near me again. That was my other fight, one of my few rare fights. I had a third fight. Well, that was that a, what was that? Oh yeah, this was what was much older. Man. I was talking about 1921.
Not 1921.
19 to 21 years
Oh,
old.
19 to 21 years old.
Okay, we went away for like adult camp. You know, my brother's friends had a bungalow with all his friends, and had girls in the next bungalow. So they took me up. So I was playing basketball with the guys over there, and I was playing against these two brothers. And these two brothers were from the Lower East Side, wise asses. So he kept going like this, in my face. He kept hitting, and I kept doing. At one point he hit my nose. So I go boom. I let him have one, and he went right down. And they all said, "Oh shit!" And that was it. Neither he or his brother came near me. That was the end.
So you had a pretty good track record.
I had a pretty good solid, very strong arms. I had very strong arms. As well as I used to work with a kid called Mursky, and in a garment center. And he sent my name in, because we used to box over there, and he sent my name into the Golden Gloves. He wanted me to go to the Golden Gloves. So I came home, I said to my mother, I said, "Mom," I says, "somebody sent me in to go and fight in the Golden Gloves." She goes, "No, oh boy, I was in the So then, yeah. But he sent me, I used to fight with him, and he used to say, "Oh man," every time I hit him, he goes, "Oh, that hurts." He says, "You got such a powerful punch. It was all bony." And so that was it. So that was okay. And then, of course, the Coast Guard was the pièce de résistance. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
The Coast Guard? Oh, that's the best. So this is the situation now. Now we're on bivouac. We're 2 weeks away in the summer, and we've been lunchtime. So we just finished lunch, and the guys are hanging around at the mess hall outside, waiting for our next assignment at 1 o'clock or whatever. We were standing there, hanging around, and the guys start, young guys do, and they started to do this, to throw each other. They put your foot against mine, and we throw each other. Well, there's two brothers, big guys. They're from Texas, Houston, Texas. The big guys. Now we had one big Jewish kid from Brooklyn, and this one guy, he put his head and he threw the Jewish guy. He threw the Jewish guy. Wow, everybody's saying, "Whoa," or something. So then the wise guy get around. I says, try me. So they laughed and said, "Okay." The guy. So we put our foot together. He goes, "Okay." We went together, and boom, I threw him. And the place went crazy. Oh, they went nuts. They went crazy. So he says, he says, "Do it again. Do it again." You're talking about a 200-pound guy. I was soaking wet, 130 pounds. So I took him, we did it again. And boom, I threw him a second time. And they couldn't get over it. I was like the big hero. I was the big hero. They liked me. They liked that because, you didn't expect it. But they didn't understand. I was very strong. I have strong shoulders.
Yeah, you always
Not
did.
anymore. My father was built like that. My brothers were very strong here. And all my jobs in all my life was always carrying and lifting and doing. So my shoulders were always top priority, top shape. So I was pretty good like that. And he never expected that I threw this guy. I couldn't get over it, So that was one of the things that. So I'll tell you another incident happened to me in the Coast Guard. Okay, now we had liberty. Liberty in Navy parlance, the Coast Guard parlance means you get a day off. You're free. It's called Liberty. You got Liberty. So we had a day off. We got off Sunday. So I went into Cape May, New Jersey, with those guys that you see in the picture. Well, you don't see them here in my picture here. There's three Gentile boys. It's in my regular picture. So we were walking through the streets, and we came upon a church. So they says, "Oh, let's go to the church." So I said, "All right, I'll wait for you guys here. You go to the church." "Oh, no, you're not going in. We don't have to go in." So they didn't go in because I didn't go in. It's nice of them. These guys were from New Orleans. These were rebels, Southerners.
Right.
So now what happened was we walked, and we came upon a candy store. And in this candy store, we met some girls. Okay, we met some girls, and we kidded around and had their names and whatever. And then we were not going back to the base because we had to be in by 6 o'clock, whatever. So the next day, Monday, was Armed Forces Day. So all the military installations, they were on, they paraded, and everything was armed forces for the armed forces. So they took our company, and we and others, we marched down to the pier. And we got to the pier, and there was this nice Coast Guard cutter up there, right? And we stood on the Coast Guard, and we were there like this. And I says, and the guy said, at ease, and we stood like this with our guns down. I'll come sit down with our guns down, and we stood at ease. Okay, now what happened was, all of a sudden, but going back a little bit, we got back to the base that night, and guys, that's BS. They loved that. And they tell them how we made ours. So we telling them, "Oh, I made ours so great. I met this girl, whatever her name was. Oh, we had a great time with them. Oh, we did this girl. Oh boy, you never believe it." That's how guys talk. So we're doing this with all these girls. Now what happens? What happens now is so now it's Armed Forces Day, which means that they open up the ships to the public. So all these people go marching up, or from the town, or whoever. They came in and they went on the Coast Guard cutter, and I'm standing there with the company, like this, on the deck. And all of a sudden, on top of that, I hear, Ted! Oh shit! I shouldn't say that.
No, you did before.
I looked up, I said, "Oh my God," I go like this. She says, "Oh," and she's there, and all the guys are saying, "Whoa, you got to go, man." I said, "I told you guys, I had a great time." So that made my day. Like that was so something when she's hollered out my name, and all these hundreds of guys standing there.
That's very funny.
So that was my experience.
So go back a little ways, and what kind of jobs did you have did you have over the years?
Oh, my first job was I graduated high school, and I got a job with a ladies company. They made what do you call these things? They put in the shoulder pads. Those days they used shoulder pads in suits. So they had shoulder pads. They put them all on all day suits. So I worked for them. It was a crappy job. First job, I got a little job.
Was that the one you said you hated?
No, so they treated me nice, I worked with all these Puerto Rican women. They were the sewers and they did everything. But I got along with them. So, one thing, I always got along with Puerto Ricans.
Why is that?
I don't know. I had an affinity with them. I grew up with them on the street. We were all, most of the country, our street turned Puerto Rican. I have Puerto Rican friends in high school, in junior high school. So I got this job for them, and they used to give me these big packages to take up to 7th Avenue from Great Jones Street. I don't know if you knew Great Jones Street. It's way down on by the Bowery. So I went to Great Jones Street, and I got this job, and that job lasted me a few months. But what happened was, I came home into misery, because all I heard was my sister and my mother. They badgered me. What are you gonna do? You're gonna schlep things all your life? Is that what you're gonna do with your life? He says, go back to school. You gotta go back to school. And they were bugging me. So I says, okay, I couldn't take it anymore. So I took a ride to City College uptown campus on Convent Avenue. I went up there and I asked them, how do I register? So they told me what to do. They gave me the papers. He says, you have to go to your high school, get the transcript, and bring it in or send it to us. And then we'll do. So sure enough, I did that and they accepted me. So now I signed up for the first semester. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I took a 6-credit course or 9 credits. And I took maybe an English course, economic course, whatever. So I did this, and I was going uptown in Convent Avenue for a couple of years. Then I said to myself, what the hell am I going to do? I wanted to get something where I could make a living. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do, so I went to the grade advisor. I says, I don't know what I wanted to go and do something I could make a living. So he says, well, your strength seems to be in math. Why don't you go to the business school on 23rd Street? Baruch School. So I went there, and I transferred there, and I started to take up accounting, and it took me a number of years when I got the degree. But that's what it was. It wasn't easy.
Were you working during college?
Oh, I always worked.
So what were you doing? What were these other jobs that you were doing?
Okay. So then I got a job that was funny. I got a job from City College. This company they need somebody in a skin place, fur skin place. So I got this job. Again, I went up there. Okay, they hired me. So the guy says, well, this is what you do. I don't know if you ever saw that these big, dirty tables, big, rusty nails, everything is. So he says to me, all right, here's what you do. He takes one piece of the skin, he goes boom, boom. He goes on the other end, he goes, pulls it out. He goes boom, boom. Pulls it out, boom. You have to stretch it all out, and then you have to let it dry. They put some crap on it. Well, I started to do this. The only trouble was that I was hitting my finger rather than the nail. And my finger was like this red. I couldn't take it anymore. Lunchtime, I quit. I was in such pain. It was so easy for him. Boom, 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 boom. Every time I did it, boom, boom. So that was my next job I got from there. But then I got a job from I don't know if I got it through City College or but I got this job for a society called B'nai Abraham. B'nai Abraham is a social...
Well, stop right there because we're going to run out of time. So we'll come back to B'nai Abraham.